in doing things the right way, man. And wow, can you believe it, man? I did all of that and we weren't even live
And
yet.
we're live. Welcome.
But that's okay, because we're going to go back over it again, man. I know you're humble, man, but we want the people to hear exactly what's going on. Welcome, guys. Listen, my apologies to you. It's been a long day. It's been a heavy day. I have been working some things out, and we've been online all day long working some stuff out. So welcome today. We've got Brother David Linton. I just read his bio. And if he allows me, will you allow me, my brother? Because we got time. I need to go through this some more because I need the people to hear who David Linton is. He's currently the program director at Jazz 91.9 WCLK in Atlanta, one of the country's leading jazz radio stations. He was inducted to the National Black Hall of Fame for leadership in 2023. He was also cited as one of 500 most influential Georgians by Media Trend in 2022. He served as a consulting producer in 2022 inaugural Jazz Music Awards, which aired on Georgia Public Broadcasting and PBS Passport. He's also, get this, guys, this is real important. He's also the chairman of the Living Legends Foundation, Inc. It's a 501c3 nonprofit that recognizes today's music executives marketing Black music while providing assistance to the needs of music industry professionals who have fallen on difficult times. He's been published in Huffington Post, focusing on the state of Black music in America and other subjects. He's been published in Billboard on various occasions, including addressing the issues concerning the term urban. We'll get into that to describe Black music. In January 2022, he completed a 5-year term as a member of the Henry County Development Authority, which he served as the vice chairman in the last 2 years of his tenure. Linton has been honored over the years for his many accomplishments in the record and broadcasting industries, as well as his civic and community endeavors. He has platinum and gold awards representing, get this, guys, over 90 million records and CDs sold for projects that he's promoted or marketed. Artists such as Prince, Frankie Beverly and Mays, George Benson, The Winans, Karen White, Shaka Khan, Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Kenny G, TLC, Tony Braxton, Next, Deborah Cox, Puffy, Total, and the Notorious B.I.G. and Usher. As Senior Vice President, R&B Promotions and Marketing at the legendary Capitol Records, Linton was selected by the then President Roy Lott to help return Capitol Records to the Black music arena after a 7-year absence. This effort resulted in gold and platinum releases by Tracy Spencer and Sammy, respectively. As Vice President of Black Music Promotions at Arista Records, then headed by the legendary and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Clive Davis, his efforts helped to make both Bad Boy Records Entertainment and LaFace Records become iconic brands in the music industry. Brother Linton has a master's in instructional media from Durham's North Carolina Central University and a bachelor's in radio, TV, film from Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. He began his radio career as an on-air personality in the Raleigh-Durham area. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. Linton. They're chiming in already, bro. They're chiming in already. Yes, sir. Look at this. They're here in the market. They're in the market and didn't even want to miss you, bro.
Oh, man. How you doing? It's a brother. It's a pleasure to be on your platform, PJ. Man, yeah. It's an honor to be here, man. You really are my brother from another mother, man.
Hey,
we met and connected and saw the connections that we had.
I tagged some of our friends, man.
It's a small world, man.
Oh, it truly is. It truly is. I tagged some of our friends so that they can be on tonight to hear from one of their friends. Man, I just want to welcome you and say thank you, man, for being a part of the Dr. Jeff experience. Brother Linton, we are in Black History Month, and we're doing something that I love talking about, and that's music. You know, we've been on different things, and we've talked about music. And music and radio, man, has really been my life. I actually started. Look at this. These are lovers of music, man. They love it. They love it. Even the wife is chiming in, man.
I
Uh,
can.
I actually got started at an AM station, man, in Atlantic City through a young man named Seymour Pinky Kravitz. He took me under his wing, and he opened up his radio station 4 to 6, David, and drive time. That's
you
huge,
doing the
man.
big things.
Yeah, man. So he used to let me do the commercials, when you put the tapes in and all of that.
Yeah.
And I used to do all of that. And then, man, one time he just said, "Look, I'm gonna be out for the weekend, and the show is yours. Bring on a guest, and you do what you do." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But I did it. He enjoyed it, and said, "Listen, whenever I am away, I want you to take the mic." And it was a very popular show, man. My mother used to listen to it. My grandmother. It was one of those talk shows where it was local. Everybody, called in to complain about stuff or talk about what was going on in town.
Right.
And it did me well. But I fell in love with radio, man. And not just fall in love with radio, but I fell in love with music. My uncle introduced me to jazz, man, at a young age. He had the booming systems, and you could hear his music all around the neighborhood. He had the reverbs when it first came out and all that stuff, man. Bose systems and all of that. He was high tech, man, and I became a policeman because of him, and I became a jazz aficionado because of him. But so tell us about David Linton, man.
Hey, man, I'm just a kid from Brooklyn, New York, man. Yeah, I am. I'm a proud Brooklyn born, and first part of my life was in Brooklyn. Then we did the George Jefferson, and we moved to Queens. You know how it goes on the East Coast. But I'm a graduate of Brooklyn Tech High School, and I thought I was going to be an architect. But music has always been a part of my life, man. I've always loved music from a little kid. When my parents would have their little socials periodically, I'd be the kid playing the 45s on the spindle,
man.
And I just always radio, because in that time, you had two options: it was television or radio if you had spare time. And so radio was a natural for me. And then I just fell in love with the different personalities.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, man. What made you fall in love with music, man?
I like to tell people I'm a nerd, but I'm a cool nerd. So I grew up, again, going to school. I played a little sports. Wasn't good enough to play pros, but I played basketball, like everybody else. But music was always a constant. I mean, I had some older cousins. They listened to music, and I just fell in love with Temptations. And my aunt, who I call my big sister aunt, because she's my father's younger sister, but she's only about 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And she used to come into New York every summer to babysit for me while my parents worked. That was her gig. Instead of, kids coming from North going to the South, she came from the South to New York, right?
Yeah.
But she took me to my very first concert. My first concert, I was about 7 years old, and I went to see the Temptations live.
Oh, wow.
It was the Motown Review with white DJ Murdy K.
Wow.
At the RKALB in downtown Brooklyn. Wow. And I was the coolest kid on the block because I saw the Temptations with David Ruffin.
Wow.
And it was just, I think that was really pivotal for me, because I saw live entertainment. I heard it. And then I saw my DJs that I listened to radio. And then I fell in love with the radio and the DJs. And then, you go to the record stores, you get the little surveys, you see the DJs, and they look like they were cool brothers,
Right.
And so I was a kid that always got the newspaper and read it from the back, but not for the sports page, I go to the entertainment page.
Oh, wow.
I'd read all the entertainment stuff. I get the TV Guide. I go to the back because they always had the feature stories about the entertainers. So I was always enamored with entertainment.
Okay.
And so, but as I read the story because that's when you had to go to the library.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't have Google. So
Yeah.
when I go to the library to do my studies, then I'd go and find the trade magazines. What now I found out they were called trade magazines, but I would get whatever the Ebonies and the Jets and
Oh,
all
yeah,
those things, and I would read about the entertainers, and I was just sort of enamored with that early age. And my mother used to always say, "Well, you think you're gonna be a star or something?" But music was always a part of my DNA. And then I just grew up with radio, and I listened to radio, and I learned all the disc jockeys. I listened. Then I liked their rap, and then also coming through the civil rights era in the '60s. Although I was in New York, we see these visions on TV, but you would also hear the disc jockeys, who I found out later most of them all lived in New York, but they all were migrants from the South.
yeah, yeah.
So they were sharing information about what was going on. And so, it was because of the radio that I found out that, Bobby Kennedy got killed, Malcolm X. I was listening to WLIB in New York on a Sunday afternoon, and it came on, and I'll never forget that. So just radio and music has always been a part of my DNA. And then during the civil rights, the music there was always a message in the music.
Yeah,
And
man.
People criticize, and I never criticize, say, oh, they don't make music as good as they used to. I said, well, every generation puts a stamp on music.
Right,
right.
Right.
Your parents didn't like their music, and their parents didn't like their music.
Yeah. How true is that? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was just, the music there was just something about the Motown sound, the Stax sound that was because music has always been about two things. It's always been about love and sex.
Man, you just said
at the end of the day. I don't care no matter what you say, how you.
Yeah. Look like you froze a little bit. Let me see. Come on back. Well, look, while we're waiting on Brother Linton to come back, guys, if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, make sure you hit those thumbs up. Make sure you copy and paste this, send it to somebody. Make sure you share this with somebody. This is good stuff, guys. I mean, listen, y'all don't understand, man. We got a heavyweight here tonight, guys. I listen to jazz. Sometimes I listen to Newark station, but only when they have specials. But man, my station stays on WCOK, man. Sunday mornings on my way to church, and then from Sunday afternoons right on through Sunday night, man. We've got Brother D.Min Linton, who is the program director, and he was just talking about stacks, man. You just hit something, man. Me and my dad, man, before he passed, that was our thing. We talked about music, man, and one of the last conversations we had, man, was about the folks, man, that came out of Stacks, man, the record label. But even let me go a little further back when I did some research, man, and even as enslaved people coming to America, we continue to they say we began singing hymns and all that, but we didn't begin. We continued to sing hymns, and we did it our way, and they thought it was savage music, but it wasn't. We were just used to the way we sang, and it was later termed spirituals, and these spirituals later evolved into gospel music. And with the abolition of slavery or enslavement, a new form of music began to emerge, and then free blacks found themselves expressing their disappointment in the post enslavement society. But then you get into from there you get into ragtime and blues and jazz and rock and roll and gospel and soul and funk and rap and hip hop. They all have African American roots, and much of the popular music of the 20th century, it owes its existence to African Americans. And it's difficult to think of another artistic arena in which one ethnic group has contributed so much to American culture. And that's why I say that Black history is American history. And I see one thing, George. Brother Linton. I read about in 1890, this guy, Brother George W. Johnson, became the first American to record commercially. A common story is that Johnson, a former enslaved person, was discovered singing on the streets of Washington, D.C. by Burlinger recording agent Fred Gaisberg. And again, we're talking about D.C., and we were talking earlier about the influence of Brother Petey Green.
Right.
Many of you might have, many of this listening audience may have seen the story of Petey Green, who was portrayed by Don Cheadle, a famous DJ with a real sketchy background. He served prison for a couple of stints and actually got discovered at Lawton Prison by Dewey Hughes, who I think at the time was the husband of Kathy Hughes. And
right, the owner of Radio 1, Urban One, yes.
Owner of Radio 1, that's right. So Dewey's brother was serving time in Lawton, Virginia, federal prison. And he was always talking about this guy, Petey Green, because Petey Green used to get all these records from his grandmother. And he was the disc jockey at Lawton Prison. They had a radio station. And he kept everything cool. Whenever something was going on, they would ask Petey to get on air and start spinning the records, and everything would calm down. And then we later saw the history where Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated during the riots, it was Petey Green, man, who really calmed everybody down in DC, man, and all around, man. So music, man, and the especially the role that you play, Brother Linton, is heavy, because there's been times throughout Black history, throughout American history, that I'm sure you have had to, sit down and think about, what kind of music is coming on and all of that. Tell me about all of that, man.
Well, it's funny when you hit on something, since this is Black History Month, and you hit on Petey Green in DC, but there were disc jockeys all across the country.
Oh yeah,
who played that same role, because at that time AM radio, Black radio, was the number one means of people connecting and communicating, getting out information. WVON in Chicago, the voice of the Negro.
Wow.
That's what WVON was.
Wow.
You had WWRL in New York. You had BLK, not BLK, but BLK, but there was in Buffalo, trying to think of where WUFO, where all the prominent disc jockeys like Frankie Crocker and Jerry Bledsoe and Gary Bird, all those guys came out of that little hub. And then, of course, down in Memphis, you had DJs, and you had E. Rodney Jones. E. Rodney Jones was actually up in Chicago and then moved to the South. But all across the country, these Black jockeys were so important, and it was because of them the community was tied. I mean, you had Jack Gibson, known as Jack the Rapper, who signed on WERD here in Atlanta, which was the first Black-owned radio station in the country. So it's all of these things are really important, and it ties on to what Black radio and the Black music. The music was our voice, you said. It was our release. And there's a brother who's deceased now, Sidney Miller, who was one of my mentors, was on the board of that on the chairman. But he had a publication called Black Radio Exclusive.
Oh wow!
It was the first Black glossy magazine devoted to Black radio and Black culture. And he used to give out an award at his convention called the Drummer.
Oh wow!
And the drummer was symbolic of the African drum beats that we had in Africa. And everything, our music is always about the beat, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's about the beat.
Yeah.
And so, that was at that time was one of the most coveted awards a disc jockey could get, was either an award from Jack Gibson, Jack the Rapper, and or Sidney Miller's The Drummer. I never got the drummer, but I got to know the guy who had the drummer.
That's
So
what's
yeah.
up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
But I used to write for him. But he gave me my first. He also gave me my first national publication that I was able to write in, and I was still writing. And I was working at Elizabeth City State University, where I set up the communications and the radio station there. And Black College Radio didn't have a voice. And I always thought that Black College Radio represents real Black ownership. And HBCU owns a radio station. That's real Black ownership.
Yeah.
With no other stakeholders but the university and its folk. And so I convinced him through a mutual friend to give me a column, and I explained to him the power of Black College Radio. Much like WCLK is one of the top jazz stations in the country, it's owned by a historically Black college, Clark Atlanta University.
Wow.
And at the time I was at WSHA in Raleigh, Shaw's radio station, which unfortunately no longer exists, was the first Black FM station in Raleigh, the Raleigh-Durham market.
Really?
And yes, it was the first FM radio station, Black radio station in the market. And me coming down from New York, I became, I actually programmed that station like a college, like a commercial station, along with my other classmates, just a student run. And then of course there's other. I actually graduated. They gave me the whole job, etc. That's another story. But I'm saying all this to say is that we upset the marketplace, and the ratings all the commercial stations were down, and they couldn't figure out where the audience went. And Sydney said, "What happened to the Black listeners in Raleigh-Durham?" And so I fired off a letter, just not thinking anything of it. Wrote a little letter, say, "Hey, they find it over here at this little college station here owned by Shaw University." and he printed the letter, Jeff.
Wow.
He put the letter in the magazine, and when he printed the letter in the magazine, it just opened up the whole floodgates. Every major record company, everybody started focusing on WSHA and Raleigh. And of course, I was the program director / general manager, and that's how I began to make relationships. But again, it goes back to true Black radio, and that goes back to Black ownership, and not disqualifying these stations that are owned by Black colleges.
Right.
That's another story. I think I got off the track, but I wanted to go there because it's so important.
Yeah.
Because all those guys that you saw, they did go to some schools. They went to colleges. My radio idol, Frankie Crocker at WBLS, he was going to be a lawyer. He was going to be a lawyer.
Wow.
But he wanted to be in radio. So,
thank goodness he ended up in radio, man.
So hey.
Well, you're talking about Black College Radio, and of course, I'm a WHUR fan, man.
Exactly.
Man, the Quiet Storm, man. When that brother, man, came in and filled in, man, I can't recall his name right now, but
Melvin Lindsay.
Melvin Lindsay, man. Hey, man, he just. I drove to Durham, North Carolina, man, and this talks about that rhythm thing that you were talking about, the drum and all. But the importance of music and Black music to me, I love music, period.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Exactly.
But it's something about our music, man, is just everything to everybody. And I did a playlist before I got on the road, 5.5 hour drive. Hey, man, about 3 hours in, man, I had to turn it off, man, because I was going places, man. I'm going back, man, and I'm going back to the Dells, the Delphonics, and the Manhattans, and the Spinners, and all of them voices and music. But for me, man, and we're gonna do a rapid fire before we close out, man. But I gotta bring this up, man, because you talked about Black College Radio, man, and for me, like I say, WHUR, man, that Quiet Storm, man, it was everything. And I just remember being on campus, man, with some of my friends who were going. I didn't attend until I started grad school. But even before that, some of my friends who were at Howard, who were at Cheney, who were at Morgan, being on campus, man, and listening to Black College Radio was just like everything, man. And then when that Quiet Storm came on, I remember in Atlantic City, Dave, we could get not WBLS, WDAS.
Yes, yeah.
And it was Georgie Woods. It was
Man with the goods.
Yeah, the man with the goods.
Goods.
It was Butterball. And at 12 o'clock, man, oh my gosh, they would do this prelude, man, into the Quiet Storm. And a lot of times, man, it was doggone Norman Connors, that Michael Henderson song, man, that prelude.
Was it Starship?
Starship.
Starship. And then there, of course, man. Smokey came out with the album Quiet Storm.
Then,
that was just
then Smokey came out, man, and I would position my car somewhere, man. So at 12 o'clock, I could get that on my radio with an antenna or something, man, so I could get that. But that's the importance, man. When people start talking about music like this, and I've been in settings, man, when we start talking about music and all the tension leaves the room. Because music, they say music calms the savage beast, but it really does. Music brings out something in people. And when we look at Black history and we look at Black music, what it has done for us, people chiming in from Philly, man. This is my Philly crowd.
Oh, Philly got to talk. Yeah,
Philly. They chiming in, man, because we know, man, that was it for us. And then even in New York, WBLS.
You deal with Vaughn Harper, the late Vaughn Harper.
Man. Vaughn Harper, man. I mean, Quiet Storms were all over the place, man.
Yeah, I mean, it revolutionized the evening. That evening slot for Black radio. I mean, somebody talking about Tony Brown and Les Brown and all of there were so many great personalities that came out. A little tidbit, this little connection between Shaw University and HUR. WSHA got signed on in 1968. President James Cheek, who was the president of Shaw, left there and went to Howard.
Yeah,
became president, and he brought some students from Shaw, the late Andre Perry, and a couple others, and they helped start HUR.
Stop it! That was when Donnie Simpson was there.
And and then of course, I got a bunch of friends out of DC who came in, but yeah, and then as quiet as it's kept, and I got Frankie Crocker to admit this. Some of the things that, and again, I've been so blessed. People, I forget the people that I listened to on the radio, who were my idols. They became my friends, my co-workers, and the thing about it is when I got to meet them, they weren't buttholes, so they didn't destroy the meth.
Right, what I mean? Yeah, that makes a difference, man.
Yeah, that made a difference. But we were talking one day, me and Crocker, and I was like, yeah, and he didn't admit it, but his reaction, I said, yeah, that the total Black experience, that's like the 360 degrees of Blackness. A total Blackness is something that HUR had, and he looked at me like, yeah, said, but I won't tell nobody.
That's too funny, man. Too funny, man. That's too funny. So where did this whole thing for jazz come in, man?
Well, I've always liked, jazz really for me came in when I got to college. I listened to some jazz because but think about the thing about BLS growing up in New York, Frankie Crocker was the kind of program director that took all forms of music and he mixed them. Yeah. You could hear R&B, he played some gospel. Yeah. he played jazz. So there was that fusion of that. And then there was a station in New York. When you become a senior in high school, just before you're freshman in college, or you get to freshman in college, you want to elevate yourself a little bit. Yeah. So I'm basically an R&B guy, I'm telling you. Yeah. But when we got to that WRVR and then CD 101, those were the stations. And then you get to college, you're listening to jazz because you want to be cool. Yeah.
And
that's when I really got deeper into jazz because being in school, and then you're meeting kids from coming from all different parts of the world, and then freshmen hanging out with seniors, etc. And then that's when I really started appreciating jazz and learning more about jazz. And that was during my freshman years, in college. That's when it was okay. Yeah, matter of fact, Shaw station, WSHA. We had a program called Jazz Spectrum.
Okay.
Came on from 3 to 6 every evening.
That's when you started wearing turtlenecks and round glasses.
Yeah, man. And so and I back then this is embarrassing, but I even I was at that time I smoked cigarettes, right?
Yeah. Don't tell me you went to a pipe.
I did the pipe thing too, but I had the cigarette holder.
Oh boy, you went all the way in, man. You went all the way in.
So it's just like it's like it was crazy.
This is some of our aficionados. WDS started 1959 on the air.
That's right. And
music, man.
So, but again, that was the period when I really got into jazz, and then of course, but I'm like you. I liked all forms of music. Growing up in New York, I was exposed to all. I know I can tell you about pop songs. I can tell you about country songs. I'm a music because music is the soundtrack of your life.
Yeah, man.
And one of my good friends and mentors, George Daniels, who ran George Music Room in Chicago, one of the first, was an independent Black retailer. But he always said, music is emotions and memories. Because when you hear a song, you're going to think of some place you were, or it's going to make you feel some kind of way.
Hey, man, come on, talk to me, man. I'm telling you, man.
And somebody talking about Butterball. Butterball became a friend. That was another person. I mean, like I said, I'm so blessed that, like I said, the guys that I listened to or looked up to, I became friends with them. Butterball at DAS, man, he was the bomb.
Man, he was all the way the bomb, man. I'm telling you. And like you said, man, during that drive, man, I was just all over the place. Now, I'm gonna talk about a couple genres of music, David. I want you to chime in, man, because deep down in me, man, I'm a house guy, man.
Okay.
Chicago, New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chi-Town. You got to go to Chi-Town. You want some real house?
Well, I actually lived in Chicago for 6 years as a young person.
Okay.
And, my dad, man, was a music connoisseur, man, and so house music for me, man, is matter of fact. Every summer, man, I'm at Grant Park, man, down at House in the Park.
Okay,
all day. But
just in time for the taste.
In
time for the taste of Chicago.
Oh man, I don't do that, man, but I do House in the Park.
Okay, all right.
And I tell you, man, we used to rock out, man, at Cheetahs in Newark and Bentleys and Silver Shadow.
Silver Shadows. Oh yeah, those are my spots.
Yeah. I'm sure we both had somewhere around, man.
Pegasus,
Oh yeah, man. They were the spots, and then of course you had the garage, but then you had disco. We had a place in New Jersey, Atlantic City, called the Chez Paris, and people often ask me about, well, what's the difference between disco and house? And I say house, man, it's got a little bit more funkier beat, more African rhythmic movements, where disco kind of, I don't even know how to describe it.
It took R&B and kind of sped it up. It was sped up R&B.
Okay.
It was sped up R&B because, the first one was always a debate on what was the first disco record. Was it Eddie Kendrick's "Girl, You Need to Change Your Mind," or Diana Ross's "I'm Coming Out," or even hope I can't. Some people will even say "Don't Rock the Boat," But all those songs, but they were just R&B with a little more tempo.
Right.
That's really what it was.
Right.
Now when our cousins got it, they took it to a whole different level.
Man.
Our cousins took it to like they were with the Village People and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They took it to a whole faster beat because disco for us was still rhythmic. Okay. There was still rhythm in it because the foundation was R&B, and so you could still feel it. But when our European cousins got it, they took it to a different level.
Yeah, man, these folks are taking me back. Somebody just mentioned the Ebony and Camden.
Ebony and Camden, yeah. Some of those places I didn't go to, but I know the names.
I was there, and I can't even tell the story I want to, but I just got chills, David, from that one. I'm like, woo. Anyway, so how about rap, man? Because you got history in rap music, man. Talk about
Well, yeah, because I tell everyone as I talk to some of my students on the campus and etc. I represent the first generation of hip hop. We wasn't calling it hip hop, but it was a rap. When coming from out of the fever in the Bronx and Queens. I mean, when
you were right there.
Russell Simmons, who's from Queens, used to throw his parties in the park, and that's when the DJs and the B-boys was all starting, and all that was happening. But and then me coming from New York, going back to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah. Jerry Blavitt, who was a real popular DJ back in Jersey. The Geeter with the heater. The Geeter with the heater.
The heater. And I took the first rap record, Rapper's Delight, and I played it on the radio at WSAJ. Now, I'm just excited because it's this new music that is like, I know it's hot, Sugar Hill Gang, and that wasn't even the first rap record. The first rap record to me was the Fat Boy Boys, King Tim III.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
By the Fatback Boys. Fatback Band, rather. I'm sorry. But we played that. But when I went back, I played the whole 15 minutes of Rapper's Delight on the radio. Wow. And my GM came down the hall, who's, what is that nonsense you're playing? That's not music.
No way.
Take that off the radio.
No way.
And I'm just getting started, and I got suspended. So I was taking off because but the thing about it, not only that, I played the whole 15 minutes of the record.
Oh man.
And there was some lyrics in there that
I was gonna say, how'd you get away with that, man?
I didn't get away.
Okay.
That's it. I didn't get away.
That was your initiation.
But the phone lit up from people who did know and like it. But again, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is the late 70s, mid 70s. This is not supposed to be going down like this.
Right.
So,
Right.
And so it was interesting. But again, so when you look at rap and you look how it has grown, and one of the great things of my career, when I did transition to the record side, having to work with Quincy Jones, getting a chance to work with Quincy Jones, especially when he was right out heat off after doing all the Michael stuff, but he came out with Back on the Block.
Yeah, man.
And to be in a room with Quincy Jones, Ice-T, Big Daddy Kane, and some of the other artists, and Quincy just dropping science. He joined the parallel between bebop to hip hop.
Yeah, man. I was going to ask you about that experience, man.
And it was like, I'm standing going like, first of all, I can't believe I'm in the room with Q, right? and he's talking because we had big, Cold Chilling Records got a deal through Warner Brothers. My good brother Tyrone Williams, who had Cold Chilling Records, and they really started rap with Mr. Magic. He managed Mr. Magic at BLS. They had the first rap show in New York on commercial radio. But he had Big Daddy Kane, and we worked all those records. And then, but Kane, Quincy put all those.
You just froze up a little bit. He just froze up. Listen, while we're waiting on Brother Linton to come back, guys, make sure you share this with somebody, man. We're getting classic history here, man. We're getting firsthand Black history, man. Listen, I got to bring up somebody, man. The Godfather himself, man, Clarence Avant.
Oh, man. Clarence, I met Clarence. I was blessed to know him. To get to know him, I was introduced to Clarence by by Brenda Andrews, who was the first Black woman to work at AMN Records, and she was in publishing. Good friend. And I got to know her because when me and my wife moved to LA, she's a good friend with the Redding family. She was handling the publishing for the Otis Redding estate. And Zelma Redding, my wife, grew up in Macon, Georgia. Her parents and the Reddings were close. My father played with Otis, and they did all kinds of things together. So when we moved to LA, Zelma Redding actually called Brenda and told her that her kids was coming out to LA and to look out for them. Look at my wife. And so we met Brenda, and then we met her through other people as my career, elevated. And she's the one who introduced me to Clarence Avant. And Clarence, took a liking to me as he did with everybody. So he was able to give people advice, and I was around him, and saw him, maybe a year or so, 8 months before he passed at Clive Davis's 90th birthday party. And so, but yeah, he was a force and he was on the radio station, and record labels back when it wasn't fashionable.
Right.
But the thing about Clarence was a straight shooter.
Yeah.
But he believed in elevating his people. He was very colorful, to say the least. But he was, I'm just blessed.
He told Barack Obama he would never win.
I was, just blessed to be able to call him at home or in the office, and he'd pick up my phone, take my call.
David, let me ask you a question, man. Putting you on the spot here, brother.
I can leave.
Best R&B, man.
Best R&B what?
Best R&B male.
For my money,
let me break it down even more. Best R&B slow jam guy.
Man, see, that's a generational thing, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm an Al Green guy all day long.
Oh, wow. Really?
I'm an Al Green guy. My male singers, not in any rank. Although Al would probably be number one. I'm not going to front.
Okay.
I'll
do top three.
Okay. Al Green, Teddy Pendergrass. Then there's a toss up between, that's when it gets real dicey, because how do you not mention the Sam Cooke, or how do you not mention? And then for me, and then I always like Lenny Williams, so, and I like, and Lenny Williams is kind of personal because it probably was the first concert that I ever did as a program director. I brought him to Shaw University because of my good friends, Eddie Sims and Belinda Wilson, which is another group of people. But Al Green for me, hands down, Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, they chiming in now, man. They chiming.
You don't get that. And Luther is good. Now, I can't take anything from Luther.
Wait a minute now. But hold on. Now, Big Luther for me. Big Luther.
Okay. See, they're all but because Big Luther. Yeah, Big Luther was Big Luther.
Yeah, Big Luther for me. I gotta go with Big Luther.
Okay.
I gotta go with Michael Henderson or anything produced from Norman Connors.
Okay.
And I gotta go with Teddy, man.
Yeah. No, I mean Teddy. If you ever had the chance, see, it's always generational in what you've been exposed to.
Yeah.
But when I saw Teddy Pendergrass do their concert live with those women in the roses, and they started throwing, I'm like,
bruh.
I had never seen that happen before.
I was there, man, at I think it was at Resorts Casino in Atlantic City, man. When he did, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Yeah. So all right, let's go with females. Let's go with female balladeers. Your top three.
See, balladeers, females, I mean, it's, for me, because she can sing anything. Aretha. I mean, Aretha just sings anything.
Flat out. Flat
Flat out. That is. And then I got the chance to work with the Queen. I work with the Queen.
Okay.
But and so I get to, so I'm always tainted a little bit.
Okay.
But I always liked her from a child, a kid. I mean, Aretha Franklin, she could do it, but then after you get that, then Gladys Knight. But Gladys Knight is my number one, even over Aretha. I gotta tell you that.
Really?
Yes. Gladys Knight can sing. Gladys Knight is my girl. I love Aretha.
Okay.
And I got a chance to meet Gladys as well. Spend time with her, but Gladys to me is the singer. She's a singer. Wow. If you go all the way back to I Don't Want to Do Wrong, Should Have Been Me. Then when you get into when she got up with Curtis Mayfield and they did all those hits during that era, I mean, she's just and then not a great singer, but I admired her style in her class, and that's Diana Ross. Now she's not a great singer to me, but Diana is a great performer. But and then there's some others in there that I could mention. But Phyllis is definitely a key. But I guess for me it looks at and then there's somebody who people don't know that I really love. One of my favorite records all the time when she had a short career. She died. Linda Jones, Hypnotized.
I was just getting ready to say that, man. I was just getting ready to say Linda Jones, Hypnotized.
That's right. See, we connected.
Bro, I had that on my playlist this week going to Durham.
Hey, it's always on my playlist. I can always have it.
Hey man, Hypnotized. That girl just flat out sings that piece, man. I mean, her voice, man, it's got this staccato thing in there, man. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, David, you the bomb, man. You the bomb, bro. Okay, I got to go with Balladeer Group. And I'm going to start this one off.
Okay.
My top three's got to be the Isleys. It's got to be Brainstorm and LTD.
That's a good. There's only one in it that's questionable, only because they only have one or two songs. But that's that's a good list. And again, that is, for me, it goes back to you got to put in there the OJs.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh!
You got
went out on a limb on that one time.
And then you got you got to go with them. Then you've got, especially talking about balladeers, then you're talking about you got to have Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes in there because again they got the teddy bear, and then of course then it begets a little hairy between where you want to go because it just depends on how far back you want to go. You're going to Black Ivory, you and I, the Delphonics, the Delphonics, but then again, so it gets when it's really, and even though we lost the Spinners are the Whispers. Yeah, the Whispers definitely when it comes to balladeer because and Earth, Wind, and Fire is a band. So Kevin, you can't put them in it. They're the band. They're the baddest band in the land. Tear down.
But they have some bad joy. I'll tell you another one too, man, that people sleep on because they see this part of him, but Zoom.
The Commodores and Lionel Richie.
Bro. Yeah. Bro, they had some earth shakers, man.
They had some earth shakers. And and the funniest thing, their biggest hit, the Commodores' biggest hit, which is Brick House.
Oh yeah.
Lionel wasn't the lead singer.
Really?
Nah, that was Walter Orange.
Didn't know that. People, y'all getting firsthand history here. I hope you have sharing this tonight, man. This is historic. Okay, best rap, man.
Ooh,
come on, guys. Bring in your comments. I want to hear what your thoughts are out there.
For me, the best rapper. I mean, and there's so many who drop. I mean, it just depends on. Again, I get tainted because of the people that I worked with, but to see, I would like to know where Biggie would be today, because Notorious Big could drop some. I've seen him in the studio just go and just hit it.
Bruh.
But then you got Eric B and Rakim,
Yes.
Yeah. And that's, and you know what? And don't sleep on Snoop. But there are just so many that the rap thing is really different. It's hard. That was the hardest category for me because I like the different styles and I like what everybody. I mean, I worked with Ice-T. Ice-T's drama album was, I think, one of the most underwritten. I still got it. I keep it in right now.
Jay-Z, man. I gotta go with Jay-Z.
Now, I don't take anything from Hova. I mean, Jay-Z is definitely, especially when he did, is commercial success, you can't beat him. But I think, I can't argue with Jay. I can't argue with Jay. There's no argument.
I got to give you this one. Eminem, man.
Eminem is tough, but don't sleep on my girls. Salt and Pepper and Queen Latifah. We ain't talk about the sister.
For me, and sisters, it's got to be the girl from California with the light eyes.
Who MC Light? No, she's from Brooklyn. She's from New York. MC Light is from New York.
But MC Light also, man.
MC Light is New York. No, MC Light.
I can't think of it. Don't try to play me out. Don't try to play me out. Oh man, I can't think of a name, man. Got them pretty eyes, man. She's from the West Coast tribe. West Coast. Yeah.
Oh, you talking about Eve?
No, not Eve. No, not Eve.
Well, she's from Philly. She's actually from Philly.
Yeah. But, okay. So let's go jazz. Jazz male vocal.
Oh, jazz male vocal is Al Jarreau.
Really?
Just for me, it's just Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau, what he did with his instrument.
That's her.
Yo-Yo. Yeah, Yo-Yo. That's and Yo-Yo's family. I hope she doesn't see this because she's family. We're like that. I mean, that's when I say we're family. We're like that.
Okay. All right. There's one. Nancy Wilson.
Nancy Wilson is just she's in a class by herself. See, Nancy is just, there's certain people you just don't even.
Yeah, she's in the class by herself.
They're in the class by themselves.
Yeah.
Nancy's in the class.
Al Jarreau, though, huh?
Yeah, I like, Al Jarreau. When it comes to male jazz vocalists, it's been, and Benson with what he's did. But, and if you're talking about guys who scat, back in the day, I mean, I don't have any real preference, but to me, Al Jarreau, I mean, I've been able to, again, another one of those people that I work with. So I'm a bias. There's a little bias there, but I've seen Al just get up and just flat sing and do some things.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right.
It was just incredible. I mean, what he did with Take 5 and then you go some other stuff. It's just, to me.
I tell you, Dave, for me, man, I got to go with Gregory Porter, man.
Okay.
He has really just, I mean, when he comes on, man, it's just like, oh man, let me sit down, man, for a minute and sit back, man, and take this ride, man.
Yeah. Porter is definitely this generation's best. He's probably this generation's best jazz singer, and it might be one of the best of all time. Put him in that category.
Yeah.
Even though people don't like him.
Yeah.
Because I don't like his behavior. One of the best songwriters of his generation is R. Kelly.
Let me tell you, man, that boy got a voice, man.
That's right. He's one of the best singers and but he's one of the best songwriters of his generation.
That young man has a gift. I'm not going to say had. He has a gift. Dave, if you don't mind, man, these people are chiming in, man. Can we go to 8 09, can we do, because we lost
Okay.
about 7 minutes.
Okay, we lost 7. I'm gonna give you grace.
Okay,
We
thank
good,
you
you know.
so much. 807, I promise you, man. They're killing me here. They're killing me, man.
I wish I could see the comments, man. I know it's great, though.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It'll come back on the playback. Okay, so we did rap. Rap female. We did rap female. We did jazz male. Let's go with jazz. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot something. A little bit of history for you. I toured with Maxwell.
Oh, really?
I was his security man for one of his concerts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was back in Tampa at the time, and one of the bodyguards got sick, and the person who hired him knew me from the industry, and asked me could I go with them just to about 2 places. I ended up going to like 5 different venues with him. It was crazy, man. We went from having I can't think Chrisette Michelle, and then they dropped her.
Okay.
And we went to where were we? We were in Charleston, South Carolina. We picked up Mary Mary. And I'm like, how is this gonna go? We're gonna go from Mary Mary to the Panty Dropper. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. But yeah, man, I traveled with him. But for me, best female vocal jazz. Boy, that's a tough one too. David.
I'll see when you go there. Now I could put Nancy in that era.
Yeah, I was thinking Nancy. Yeah,
Nancy. When you talk about female jazz, she was such a classy one. I got to meet her. Such a classy lady.
Yeah, man.
Oh, such a classy. I mean, just there was something about, and I think it became out of that generation coming out of having to go through what they went through.
Yeah.
To perform and travel and all that. They carried themselves with just such grace and grace under fire. I mean, again, not to toot one's own horn, but one of the highlights of my career, 2 highlights of my career was I was introduced to Nina Simone by my mom. My mother introduced me to Nina Simone's music, right?
Oh man, a great
one. My mother, I was 27. My mother was 45 years old when she passed. And so she never really got the chance to, she saw the beginning of my career, but she didn't get to see obviously all of it because she's not. But I was honored by an organization that Deanna Williams from Philly and Sheila Eldred used to have an organization called IAM, International Association of African American Music. And they honored me and Nina Simone on the same program. And I'm sitting at the table with Nina Simone. And Nina is talking to me. And people are going like, what did you do to her? Because she don't talk.
Yeah, man.
And we had a conversation. And I just told her, about her music as The Young, Gifted, and Black, and how that album really touched me as a young teenager. And she was accompanied by her daughter. And everybody was at the table, and she didn't speak to anybody, but she spoke to me, and I was just like, but it was just, and then the other is living in LA. There's this organization called Heroes and Legends, and I was honored, and I'm honored on the same program with the chairman, Barry Gordy.
No,
I'm like,
no way, David.
This don't happen to. I said, it's like, and so these are some things that were just. Yeah, Diane Reeves is a good one, Kiva. That's a real good one. She was on the Jazz Music Awards too. If you haven't seen it,
wow.
But Diane Reeves is a great one.
Great one.
But I'm just saying that to say that anybody who's looking at this and who has dreams.
Yeah, man.
Dreams do come true. You have to work, and you don't don't limit yourself. There's a couple of things I'll never forget when me and my wife when we started dating. She used to tell me, she said, she's from the South, I'm from the North. We met in college. She said, I'll never live in New York. I don't ever want to live in New York. She used to go, I'd take her up to New York. The first time I took her, I said, got on the subway. I said, don't be looking at people saying, hey, we don't do that. No eye contact. And I got a call from somebody who wanted to offer me a job in New York. And I wasn't going to take the meeting because I promised her that she would never have to leave in New York. So I said, well, talking to her, I said, I got a call from, Polygram. They want we lived in LA at the time. And she said, well, how'd it go? I said, well, I decided I wasn't going to take the meeting. She said, why? I said, because you said you were willing. She said, Negro, you better call that man back. and so never say never. Step out of your comfort zone. And I did take that job, and it was my first vice presidency. The rest is history. But again, don't limit yourself. Yeah, Shirley Horn's a good one too. Oh, Kiva's just got him. She's a
that's my sister from another man. She's from Philly.
She's going through. She's going in. I'm watching her. She's going in.
Yeah.
And I just tell anybody though, to go for your dreams, and the best thing about one of the best things about my life, outside of my belief in God, because is the fact that I always tell people I'm living proof that great things happen, and you can go to an HBCU. I wave the flag for historically Black colleges all day and night. I went to Brooklyn Tech, one of the best schools in New York. Turned down an opportunity to go to Syracuse because it was too cold. My mother was livid. We're talking about 1976. Black kid get a chance to go to Syracuse. You talking about I ain't going there because it was too cold. Uncle Roy, yep. Kathy Alexander, you're absolutely right. Roy Ayers. But again, I really do believe in HBCUs, and because HBCUs are really great opportunities, because you get not only do you get great education, but you get opportunities that you don't get anywhere else. You get the hands-on experience, and you're not a number. You go to school, your instructors are really your aunties and your uncles.
Hey man, I'm a double HBCU guy, man. So
I know, me too. That's what I said. So
listen, guys, we are 2 minutes over 1 hour, and tonight you have gotten true history tonight. Look, they're still chiming in, man. They're still chiming in, man.
Blackbirds. Oh yeah, Blackbirds.
Oh, and here's another voice, man.
Gene Kong. Yep.
They still chiming in, Dave. This could go on forever. This still go on, man. But thank you so much, man. It's been an honor and a privilege. Come on, y'all. Y'all salute brother David Linton, the program.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
CLK Radio in Atlanta, man.
WCLK.com worldwide. Check us out.
WCLK.com worldwide, man. Go on your radio, your internet, wherever you are. Kathy and Kiva, y'all in Philly. Some of you guys all over. I see you, man. Listen, y'all, man, tune in to this brother. He is a living legacy.
I don't know if you can see it, but go to the iTunes store or the Google Play and download the app.
That's it.
I got to do my commercials.
Look, they're saying, don't leave.
I can hang a little bit longer.
Oh, man.
I got a few more minutes.
I got another meeting to go to, man. And,
all right.
But, man, David, we thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, man, really.
And we pray God's blessings over you and all of the work, because I know that it's ever changing with this AI and all of that.
Oh, that's another conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But we thank you, man, for what you have brought into the whole Jazz Awards show that came here to Atlanta. We thank you, man, for, of course, man, one of my favorites, man, in the summer I look forward to, the Jazz Festival, man, down at Piedmont Park, man. We look forward to that. We look forward to all that you're doing and you're presenting. And guys, when you listen to WCLK, donate. Donate, man. It's a publicly funded radio station, man. So if you love jazz, if you love what WCOK is doing, you gospel folks, man, all the stuff that they do on Saturdays, Rashawn Patson, Rashawn McDonald,
yeah.
man, you got to listen to his stories. You got to listen to those stories, man, on Saturday mornings. What's the sister's name?
Kipling Primus.
Kipling Primus,
Kipling
man.
With the local take.
Man, listen, this is education, guys. Put down Club Shay Shay and YouTube for a while and get some education, man. Know what's happening in your world, because this goes beyond the A. This goes worldwide, nationwide. So again, man, we thank you. And you know what I always say to my audience: meet needs, solve problems, love God, love each other. I love you. David, don't go anywhere. We're going to close out the stream. Thank you, guys. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you next Tuesday. Got a great surprise for you.
Thank you.